Welcome to Compas on the Beat. It's week 14 in the NFL. Can't believe we're already here. December 6th. Got to check the calendar real quick. And yeah, 5 games left for most teams in the regular season. Final week for the bye weeks. I think it's Commanders and the Cardinals right now in the bye week. Kind of fitting, right? We don't care about those teams right now. We care about the big boys, the teams fighting for a playoff spot. We're going to talk about the Eagles and the Cowboys, Bills and the Chiefs. We got the Ravens and the Rams, Chargers, Broncos for the people here locally. Uh, Shout out to What's Up Bolts and House of Horns. But my name is Gilberto Manzano. You can call me Gilbert or Gil. I cover the NFL for Sports Illustrated, and I talk a lot of football here on Compas on the Beat. But I'm not alone for the Looking Ahead show where we talk best bets, game picks, fantasy football. You want to talk about fantasy football? Get in the comments for the live show. But again, I'm not alone. Victor Javier Corona, Victor producer. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm glad that we decided to move this to Wednesdays because we don't have to go right after what is going to be one of the most avoidable games of the season in Steelers and Patriots. But good to be on here. I mean, we got a good slate of games. Week 14. We already have some comments at Thier, our guy. He's ready to roll. So can't wait to get this started, Gilbert.
Yeah, we'll get to Thier's comments in a bit, and shout out to Thier for adjusting to the schedule. I know he wanted Thursdays, but we're here on Wednesday, like you mentioned, Victor. And yeah, we don't need to wait all day for Patriots and the Steelers and Bailey Zappi and Mitchell Trubisky. Ugh, what a brutal matchup! But hey, the Steelers are in the race for the playoffs, but we don't have to spend too much time about that. We won't do that here on Compas on the Beat. Again, we're looking ahead here. We're talking about Week 14 in the NFL, but not just breaking down games here, which will be a big part of the show. But you want to just chat football? Get in the comments like a Thier here. Thier's always leading the charge here for the comments in the live show. Hey, fantasy football talk. You want to talk about your fantasy football team? It's the final week of the regular season for most people in their leagues here. Get to the comments. Victor is doing very well in our fantasy football league. Drop a question. You want some advice from Victor? Me, I'm not doing so well, but I am fighting for a playoff spot. So we encourage fantasy football talk here. But again, you want to make a bet in the NFL? Let's talk about it. You don't have to take our advice, but we can have a discussion and maybe just a pick for a lot of because last week was difficult. Victor, who saw the Bengals and the Packers winning? A lot of upsets a week ago that we did not see. So maybe we should step up our game and call out a few upsets this week. No.
Yeah, I'm with you because I went 0 for 5 on my best bets, and maybe we should open it up to the our viewers and listeners, and let give us your best bet because we
Your
did
best
so bad.
upset. How about that?
Yeah, there you go. What's your best upset? Whatever you got on a money line game, give us your best bet of the week. We encourage now that gambling is allowed, even though it was always everybody always did it. So please give us your best bet. We would like to hear, and as you said, we always want fantasy questions. We're more than it's last week before the playoffs, Gilbert.
Yeah, it's funny because I only have 2 leagues. I can't do more than 2 fantasy football leagues, but in both leagues, people threw a bunch of money on the waiver wire for the Houston Texans defense because they're playing the New York Jets, who are terrible offensively. But yeah, a lot of people are just looking to get the best lineup this week, and they're throwing money at whatever to make sure that they win their matchup and get to the playoffs. But yeah, let's talk fantasy football. But and obviously also the biggest upset of the week because after what happened last week, I think I went like 8-5 in my pick, something like that. I forget. It wasn't the best week for me. But yeah, let me know your best bet. But speaking of underdogs, how about the opposite? How about the top teams in the NFL? That's going to be the engagement question of the week. The 49ers destroyed the Eagles. So everybody's on the 49ers bandwagon suddenly again. Surprise, surprise. So every NFL power ranking you're looking at, you find on the internet, 49ers are number one. So that is my question for the engagement question of the week. A lot of question. Are you taking the 49ers to win the whole damn thing? Or are you taking the field here? It could be the Ravens, it could be the Eagles, it could be the Cowboys, it could be the Lions, it could be the Chiefs. So either comment 49ers or you're taking the field. So personally, I think I'm taking the field because is pretty wide open in the NFL this year. The 49ers look great. They are definitely the number one team in the NFL right now. But I'm not going to count out the Eagles and the Cowboys. They got spanked by the 49ers, but I'm not ready to crown them just yet, Vic.
Yeah, and I'm with you until we haven't seen Kyle Shanahan win a title yet, and this is his best shot. But as you said, like you know, something always seems to happen with the 49ers, and until they get to the mountaintop, it's hard to pick them right now. But I'm with you. I'm going with the field just because we know how unpredictable the NFL. Every time we think that we finally figured out who the best teams are, it changes the next week. So I'm with you. I'm taking the field as well.
Yeah, it should be a fun final month of the regular season. And before we talk about these games in week 14, again, don't be shy. Drop a comment if you're watching live. But some announcements. We're trying to get to the Super Bowl. The compas here, me, Victor, Fernando, Dan. We're trying to get the Super Bowl Radio Row in Las Vegas, but that requires money, housing, buying equipment so we can make more content, especially in person. It's a little pricey, but if you want to help out the compas, check out the link in the description, and a PayPal link will appear for donations. Or you want to give us a super thanks here, or super like or sticker on the live, that works too. But no pressure. Just want to put it out there. We appreciate all the support here on Compas on the Beat, on House of Horns, on What's Up Boats. Like, it's been pretty cool because these live shows that we do on Monday and now on Wednesday evenings, we put them on all three YouTube channels, and you see fans from Charger fans jumping in from What's Up Boats, or Rams fans jumping in from House of Horns, and then all our supporters on Compas on the Beat merging together on three channels has been pretty cool to see. So help out if you can. No pressure. All love, and I just wanted to throw it out there.
Yeah, I mean anything helps. I know this time of year it's kind of hard. People are trying to get presents, you know. So and we got a couple of comments that we'll get into. We got a Thea and we got URL Jordan that we'll get into before our headline news. But yeah, I mean anything that you guys can do to help out, we'll really appreciate it. It's we're not asking you guys to go ahead and donate. If you can, you can. If not, then we'll get to it. But thanks for all the support. I mean, on our regular Compas channel, we have over 1,400 subscribers. That's been awesome to see. We went over 1,000. On our House of Horns, we're over 726 now. And then in our What's Up Bolts, I think we're over, I want to say 600 or no,
We're getting
580.
close to 600 on What's
We're
Up
getting
Boat.
close to,
Subscribe if
yes.
you haven't.
So that's some great support from everybody. So on whatever channel you're checking us out on, thank you guys so much for the support. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, and I'll address these comments real quick. Thier, man, I feel like you're always keeping us on our toes. Or you and Fernando not seeing eye to eye. The other day, you told us you might not even jump on the live anymore, but you're still around. So don't scare us like that. But I think you're joking with us, Thier. So it's all love. And I want to answer this question here from URL Jordan. What's the news on Trevor Lawrence? And I think it's still a lot of wait and see, but I think he avoided disaster of a season-ending injury with the ankle, which is good news. And I was covering that game for SI, and and I had my story ready. I was like, okay, let's come on, Jaguars, score here on this drive, and I'll send my story and call it a day. And they were driving, and then Trevor Lawrence, went down after was it Walker Little stepped on his ankle, and it looked pretty bad. He needed to be helped off the field, but I think they're still waiting and see mode, but I don't expect him to play this week. I'm guessing maybe next week he'll play, but it could be something like it's 1 or 2 weeks, which is tough for the Jaguars because they play the Browns and the Ravens, and they fall 0-2. They might lose the division because the Colts are right there, the Texans are right there. But if they split and Trevor Lawrence comes back, I think they play the Buccaneers, the Panthers, and the Titans. They'll be okay, but they got to go through some rocky waters. I think Doug Peterson, that was his quote. Doug Peterson pretty much hinted like it's going to be a tough few weeks, but it could have been so much worse, especially this terrible year for quarterbacks. No Joe Burrow, no Aaron Rodgers, no Anthony Richardson, no Kirk Cousins. So this kind of became the best case scenario, right, Vic?
Yeah, but I want to ask you something, Gilbert. Like, how long do you keep them out? Is the question. I understand this week.
Yeah,
Now, if you fall to 0-2, that allows the Colts or the Texans to catch up to you, and you might go from being the division winner to being out of the playoffs. If they also have easier schedules, just like the Jaguars after those 3 games. So, my
yeah.
question to you is, how long are you? How long should you keep him out and to prevent, like, do you want him to get healthy and be ready for the playoffs, but might that be too late?
Yeah, that's the question there. Like, especially if they lose to the Browns this week, and another comment here from URL Jordan. CJ Beathard is the backup formerly of the 49ers. He was a backup for Jimmy G for a few years, and CJ Beathard doesn't kind of give you a lot of excitement or confidence, but we saw Jake Browning ball out. We've seen guys like Tyson Bajan win a game. We've seen Tommy DeVito win a couple games. So if they win a game or two in the next 2 weeks with CJ, they're looking pretty nice. But I say, give it like a 2 week plan because say you lose a couple, you can still make it in the wild card if you win out against the Buccaneers, Panthers, and the Titans. That will still get you 11 wins. That could be enough for the wild card, but you don't want to rush back your franchise quarterback. But if they lose this week, it's gonna be a lot of pressure there. But they got to be you know patient with their star quarterback. You don't want to force it, and who knows? Ideally, you want to give them a whole month off before the playoffs. But again, the playoffs are not guaranteed.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, and they got a CFL legend as their third string quarterback now. Remember that quarterback who had that great play in the preseason where he just refused to go down, and then yeah, I think it was either Zay Jones or somebody caught the pass. So he's their
Mm,
third string quarterback. I his name is escaping me right now. I think it's Noah something, but yeah, I mean the Jaguars, that it's been a theme this year, Gilbert, with the backup quarter with the good quarterbacks getting hurt. We've seen Burrow and others get hurt this season, and we got some really good news in terms of Trevor Lawrence because you don't want to. That's one of the good things about the AFC. As much as it's wide open, you have a lot of really good quarterbacks, and if the reason I ask that is it might open the door for the Bills. It might open the
yeah,
door to other teams, so um we'll see what happens. But are you ready to get it
yeah.
to our headline game of the week?
Yeah, let's talk about it. Eagles versus Cowboys. This time the Eagles are going to Dallas. The Eagles beat the Cowboys in round one a couple weeks ago, and the Cowboys had them. They drove down the field on the last drive. They just needed a score, and they would have won the game. But they went backwards, and that's kind of why people are hesitant to give Mike McCarthy credit or to give Dak Prescott MVP conversation like a bump there because they lost to the 49ers. They lost to the Eagles. They did a bunch of mistakes there. And then honestly, Victor, I was worried for the Cowboys last week when Mike McCarthy went for a field goal and it was 6 point game. Like, you're giving the ball back. That's the same mistakes that you always do, Mike McCarthy. Luckily for the defense, they stepped up there. But it's hard to trust the Cowboys, but they could gain so much of that trust back if they beat the Eagles. And the Eagles they're pretty fatigued right now. They've gone through this wild gauntlet of going from the Chiefs to the Bills, to the 49ers, the Cowboys the week before that, before it really got started, and then the Cowboys again. So that's just a brutal grind there. But the Eagles are going to be motivated. They got their butts whooped by the 49ers, and they don't want to lose again, especially in this race for the NFC number one seed, and then also the NFC East titles up for grabs. So I would think that the Eagles will have the tiebreaker over the Cowboys if they split in terms of conference record because the Eagles lost to the Jets. That's AFC. And then the Cowboys have lost to the 49ers, Cardinals. Who else am I blanking on here for them to lose? But I'm forgetting here. But 49ers, Eagles, and Cardinals. Like, that's three NFC teams. So even if they lose, they're okay. But you want to win that game there. But I'm leaning with the Cowboys here. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles cover. It's -3.5 Cowboys, but Eagles could definitely keep it a field goal game.
Yeah, I'm with you. I as with URL Jordan. Let me just read this comment. Round one of Eagles versus Cowboys. Everything bounces. Wells, Way, Rebels, Weiss, and just little things like the knee on the 1 yard line. Adam Sud, but I think Eagles win. And I'm actually, the fact that that game was really close gives me hope for the Cowboys here. If you're a Cowboys fan, I've told you, Gilbert, that I really like the Cowboys at home. My only concern is the fact that Mike McCarthy had an emergency, or he had
Yeah.
a appendectomy, so he's gonna miss a couple of days of practice, but he should be ready to go. I had an appendectomy in my 20s, and it took me a couple of days to get out of the hospital. But it must be a different situation. I'm surprised he's gonna be back already. But one of the things I like here is the fact that you know the same opponents both teams have faced, the Cowboys have done way better than the Eagles, and it seems like the Eagles kept games close, and finally somebody came in and just beat them in the 49ers. Now it'll be interesting for me, Gilbert, to see if the Cowboys take a page out of the 49ers and attack those linebackers and secondary. And then what happens with Jalen Hurts? We talked about it. It seems like he's got a bum knee. He's not making any excuses. He's still out there. And is that the reason why he's out there, you know, um, running the ball a little bit more than uh, than passing down the field? Who knows? We'll find out against. But this is going to be a tough matchup. I just really like the Cowboys in this matchup. And then to the comment, the Eagles' run game has to step up, or else they'll be putting Hurts in harm's way.
Yeah, what they did last week, that can't fly again because no pun on fly Eagles fly. But they had DeAndre Swift. I don't know, he got injured in the fourth quarter. Maybe he was okay. They're gonna need Kenneth Gainwell to step up too. But with Swift having like 6 carries, they only had 18 total carries overall, 46 yards rushing, and you can't be doing that. And they were just so predictable with their offense, and they had it in the first quarter. Like if they would have gone up 14-0 when they had those 2 field goals, it could have changed the whole outcome of the game. The game script, it goes to the Eagles' way, and the 49ers are kind of getting a little desperate there, and they didn't capitalize. And why not use a little more RPOs and just kind of have more playmakers in the backfield, because it was just the 49ers said, all right, Hurts, we're gonna take away all your running lanes here. We won't just go after sacks. We're gonna move the pocket, and then we're gonna keep an eye on you with Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw. You're not gonna escape the pocket here because you're so dangerous that way. And it worked. But where's the help for Jalen Hurts? Where's maybe a flip to an option to Kenneth Gainwell, or even a dump off to Kenneth Gainwell, or just kind of give the ball a Swift, establish a run a little more. The game got away in the second half, not the first half. You could have definitely controlled the script there. So that was a good comment. And then, yeah, on the other side, Dak needs to be perfect. He's been perfect the last few months, not really turning the ball over. He's been sensational, and that Eagle secondary is pretty bad. And you got CeeDee Lamb out there, and Brandon Cooks and Michael Gallup, Jake Ferguson. So you could definitely light up the Eagles there with Dak Prescott. But it's just that reputation that we're all worried about. Like will they let it up? Like in Philadelphia, that was a sour taste there. So if you got them on the ropes, Cowboys, you better knock them out.
Yeah, I'm with you, and and then we got one more, especially versus Micah Parsons. To your point, I mean, this is the game, and a lot of people are making a big deal out of the fact that um, Deron Bland got beat by DK Metcalf, and that had a lot to do with it. But I just don't see that happening again. And as Coach Quinn said, "Hey, go ahead, try to go after him, see what happens." And that's going to be a good test with AJ Brown, Devontae
Yeah,
Smith, and that secondary. So there's a lot to look forward to in this matchup. And then we got one more here from Marty, who joined us on
yeah,
House of Horns early. He says, I owe Dak an apology. I wasn't familiar with his him. I got the Cowboys too. So there you go. Another person who's on the Cowboys. I just think they play way better at home. We've seen it. They've won 13, 14 in a row now at home, Gilbert. Even I thought that was a really good test from the Seahawks, because you called it. You said, hey, the Seahawks are gonna come and play with some heart, and they did. And the Cowboys still responded, and we were like, oh, same old Cowboys. Here we go again. They're gonna give away this lead, but no, they held it together and they pulled out a win. And these are the kind of wins you want to start to see. We've said, well, they haven't beaten anybody. Well, they're starting to beat teams, and now here comes another test for them. Now it's time to be your your biggest opponent in the NFC East, and then get a shot at getting that number one seed, Gilbert.
Yeah, and to Marty's point, like this might be the best stretch of football in Dak Prescott's career, and that's credit to Mike McCarthy. We all had questions about him as a play caller when he took over for Kellen Moore, and that could kind of maybe sting a Thier a little bit because he's frustrated with the Chargers and Kellen Moore. They're not scoring any points. The Cowboys are scoring plenty of points, and but I just go back to when it was 4th and 3 in that Seahawks game, and McCarthy just went for the field goal. Like you got to go and knock out teams. None of this safe stuff. So. We'll see what the Cowboys do here. And then a theory, I got Eagles winning 27-23 if Hurts plays. I'm sure Hurts will be okay. He's a tough dude, but he's not healthy. That's for sure. Well, I guess no one really is nowadays, but or at this time of year in the NFL. But he's a gamer. I'm sure he'll be out there. And I don't expect the Eagles to just have another terrible offense. I mean, or another performance overall. They're gonna adjust here, but I do worry about their defense against CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott. But on the flip side, you got to worry about Goddard's back too. That's a big thing too, Victor, because I think Hurts really missed Dallas Goddard when, he had time to make plays because again, I think the 49ers were trying to take away his running lanes. That he was looking downfield. They were well covered, but there was nothing in the intermediate game, and that's where Goddard really comes through for him. So if he's healthy and ready to go, like that could definitely hurt the Cowboys defense. And I got one more point before we move on. Like I want to see what this defense does after getting their butts whipped last week. And they got lit up by the 49ers earlier this year. They're a good defense, but they've had some bad games this year. And I would not be surprised if the Eagles bounce back against that defense.
Yeah, and we haven't seen them lose too many games in a row. But like I said, I circled this game a couple weeks ago, especially after the Cowboys played them really well on the road. And I just think that with how they're playing, it just becomes. And Athir, we'll get to your comments when we get to the Chargers. Right now, we're talking about Eagles and Cowboys. But when we get to the Chargers game, we'll get to it. Here we go. One more comment on here. I feel like contest matters in the Moore versus McCarthy comparison. Before the Chargers versus Cowboys game, consensus was Kelly Moore was missed. Nothing was better than beating the LAC defense to gain confidence. So
Yeah.
yeah, they made it personal. It seemed like.
No, it's a good point because I actually was very critical of Mike McCarthy before that Chargers game, and I'm like, why aren't you feeding CeeDee Lamb? And in that game, to your point, they were feeding CeeDee Lamb from the get go, and then Mike McCarthy. It took him a little longer than expected. He's like, oh crap! Once you feed CeeDee Lamb and establish him, things look pretty nice. And they've been a very pass heavy approach. We don't hear Tony Pollard's name a lot. We all worried about him being a dinosaur and having a run heavy approach, and it took him a while to figure it out, but that was a game. And yeah, the Kellen Moore versus Mike McCarthy game, it wasn't the best game. It wasn't pretty, but you saw signs of McCarthy finally figuring it out. But I do worry about his time management, his late game situation. I'm still harping on that 4th and 3, but that's what Mike McCarthy usually kind of messes up. But play calling, scheme wise, offense, he's clicking right now.
Yeah, and I was critical when we did the Rams and we did the Rams Cowboys preview. I was very critical of McCarthy because I was like, okay, you brought in this Texas offense, which is the West Coast, your version of the West Coast offense, and yet they were struggling in the red zone. And it's funny, like to this comment, like it seems like they found themselves once they played the Chargers. It became a motivation for Mike McCarthy, and he's hit every button. And not only that, but it's also ascended Dak Prescott into the top of the MVP conversation. So that tells you that that game was a springboard for the
Yeah.
Cowboys.
I can't remember if Viva Moy 42 or Vive Moy 42, or I'll say Moy 42. Sorry, from Chile. Let me know if you are, because maybe you are, because I see your name pop up for Lunas Live. But sorry if I forgot. But thank you for the great comments, and shout out to you, and great point to you first.
There we go. Thank you for like I said, just continue guys to give us your feedback. Like I said at the end, we'll get to it to your comments when we get to the Chargers. So let's get to our page two, our our secondary tier games here, Gilbert. Let's start off with Bills at Chiefs. And
Yeah.
as we know, Gilbert, the Bills come in 6-6 coming off the bye, and then the Chiefs are 8-4 and they're coming off a loss to the Packers.
Yeah, and real quick, I knew it was from outside the United States, but not close enough. Canada and Chile are not that close, but shout out to you. Yes, shout out to Canada. We need to have a show in Canada. That's awesome. Yeah, I think we did talk about that. Was I want to say Montreal, right, or something like that. I know
Yeah.
Fernando was talking about it, but yeah, sorry about that. But yes, going to the Bills versus Chiefs here. You know, I'm very intrigued for this game because the Bills are very desperate. They're 6-6, and they're only one game outside of the playoffs right now. And like again, the AFC is so wide open. If the Bills beat the Chiefs and they find a way to get into the playoffs, I might even pick the Bills to win because I don't have faith in the Jaguars with the whole Lawrence issue. The Dolphins haven't beat anybody good. I got to see them play somebody and win. Uh, the Chiefs don't have great receivers, and the Ravens lack a consistent passing attack. So if they find a way to get in these Bills, they might be very dangerous. But then again, Victor, they don't make anything easy. The theme for the Bills is like late game mistakes, miscommunication. They're very thin on defense. They don't have a pass rush. So uh, the Chiefs are vulnerable. They're not the best Chiefs team that we've gotten used to, but they're at home at Arrowhead Stadium. They got their butts whooped in Lambeau Field against Jordan Love. They also need a win too. Maybe not as desperate as the Bills do, but I trust the Chiefs a little more. Maybe that's my stubbornness because they win a lot. But outside of Rasheed Rice, I don't really have much. And it's not like I like Rasheed Rice as a wide receiver, but he's not supposed to be your number one. He's a very good number two, but they need more there. And I obviously got Travis Kelsey, but it hasn't even been his best year either, too. So it's right there for the Bills, but I trust the Chiefs more. And and real quick, I forgot to mention my pick here, but earlier for the Cowboys game, I'm taking the Cowboys, but I'll give the Eagles the plus 3.5. Should be close, but give me the Cowboys. And here, I will take the Chiefs, and I think it's like a plus 1.5 for the Bills. I say the Chiefs cover, but it should be close, like a 3-point game.
Wow, that's a really close line there.
Yeah,
I didn't even look at that. Wow. Yeah, I there's a lot of concerns with both of these teams, Gilbert, which is weird. I'm really excited for this matchup. But one of the things that you brought up there was Travis Kelsey, and I think he's playing hurt. I think he never got to just take a couple weeks off from that injury that he suffered in the first. I think it was either game 2 or game 3. I think he's hurt. But he's such a gamer that he's still out there playing through his foot injury. My other concern with the Chiefs, I still think they're going to win the AFC West. Of course, they're going to
yeah,
be the representative there. There's no doubt about that. My biggest concern was last week was teams are starting to just figure out that hey, if we just slow down the offense in terms of there was only 6 possessions last week, Gilbert, against the Packers, and the
yeah,
Packers scored in every possession that and then the Chiefs finally figured it out towards the end, but they didn't have enough possessions because the defense finally didn't play a great game. And that's my issue. Is like, and then you got Josh Allen on the other side where he's trying to prove a point. Look, he's gonna carry that team, and he's gonna carry. If they get in the playoffs, as you said, it's gonna be because Josh Allen carries them. Because that defense is horrid. Like with
yeah,
all the injuries that they've had, I totally understand. But I think the X factor in this game, Gilbert, is the coaching. I trust Andy Reid more than I do Sean McDermott. We've seen that. I know that um, Josh Allen gets he gets playing for. I think it's what is he now 0-3 or 0-4 in the overtime games.
yeah.
But Sean McDermott's some of his coaching down the stretch too, like we've talked about with Mike McCarthy, has been really bad. And so I'm with you. I'm taking the Chiefs in this game, and I like the what is that plus 1.5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you have for the Cowboys pick?
Oh, I'm going with the Cow. I told you a couple of weeks
Okay.
ago that I like the Cowboys in a blowout.
All right, and so they're gonna cover. And
Yeah,
yeah, thank you for the comment there and the great memory. I knew it was Montreal, so maybe one day we'll get to go out there and rock some Expos gear. How about that? A
yeah,
Vladimir Guerrero jersey. That'd be
yeah.
pretty
They're
cool.
Wow,
But
that's a good memory by you, Gilbert. And then yeah, like an Expo. That's one of the nicest hats. Like I've always wanted an Expo hat, and I've never been able to get one. I need to put that on my list of hats to get one of these days. But all right, Gilbert, we're gonna move on to a game we've already talked to on House of Horns, but
yeah,
it's such a good matchup that we decided to talk about it one more time.
yeah. Marty was here earlier, so maybe he wants to double dip with the analysis here on the Ravens versus the Rams, and we gave our picks on the House of Horns, and we both went with the Ravens. I think Marty did too. Actually, I forget. Let me know if you're still watching it if you got the Ravens, but it's gonna be a close game. I'm like we mentioned on the preview show, like we are so just waiting or excited to see what the Rams offense does against the Ravens defense. Sean McVay versus Mike McDonald, the DC of the Ravens, and the Rams have just been very good offensively. That's why I asked the question: are they one of the best offenses in the NFL right now? That could be me thinking very short term because they beat down the Cardinals and they beat down. I guess maybe it was a close game against the Browns, and then it kind of got away from them after the Joe Flacco interception. But they still dropped 36 points, so on a very good defense. So maybe you guys can answer that question: are the Rams offense legit? Maybe it's kind of slow it down. Let's see what happens with the Ravens here, but I'm expecting a close game. I'm taking the Ravens, but I'm taking the Rams to cover. This is plus 7 points here for the Rams. But going into Baltimore, Ravens having a bye week, Rams still having a young roster. That to me doesn't sit well. And then the Ravens crush the Lions and the Seahawks. So that's why I'm going with the Ravens here. Athir likes the Ravens a lot. We know that from the Monday show. Ravens beat down you crazy. Ravens 31, Rams 14. Wow, a blowout.
Yeah, and to Atir's point, we mentioned it on House of Horns. The Ravens are 12-3 under John Harbaugh coming off a bye. And then yeah, yeah, I mean, look, that's one of the things we talked about on House of Horns as well is the fact that the Ravens have pretty much blown out teams at home. They're the what I've said about the Cowboys at home blowing out teams is the same thing with the Ravens. They blew out the Seahawks and they blew out the Lions. So we've seen them are coaching a heck of a season. Yeah, and yeah, McVay and Morris are coaching a heck of a season, and that's one of the reasons we said, hey, maybe we're starting to buy the Kool Aid on the Rams
Yeah.
because they've won 3 in a row since they've come off the bye. They've scored 30. They've averaged 30 points a game. And then one more thing to keep an eye on: if the Rams defense gives up a opening drive touchdown, which they've done the last 3 weeks, they've come back and won. So that's another thing to keep an eye on. If the Rams can keep it close, I like their chances, as you said, because that's the other thing, Gilbert. The Ravens have been up in every game, but yeah, they've lost 3 games where they shouldn't have let teams come back. You saw the game against the Browns, the game against the Steelers, and the game against the Colts. They if they allow opponents to stick around, you have a chance to beat them because for some reason they always give up blow leads late in the game.
Yeah, see, for me, like I want to see the opposite. I want to see the Rams get to a good lead, a sizable lead early in the game, and force the Ravens to play from behind. Because, yeah, I know our guy from Montreal and Athir, are saying potential blowout, but the Ravens are just not the same to me without Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews makes a difference for that passing attack, and Lamar Jackson. Like, yeah, Zay Flowers is really good, and they're trying to use him in different ways, but OBJ and Isaiah Likely and Rashad Bateman, Nelson Aguilar, that's not enough firepower for me. So I want to see the Rams jump out to a lead, like a 10-point lead, and force them to throw the ball and see what happens there, and then put pressure on the Ravens defense. But yeah, if that doesn't work out, you hang around in the fourth quarter. This team has shown that they're not able to put away teams. And I know we have a couple of Chargers fans in the comments right now. They saw that the Chargers weren't scoring points in the fourth quarter. I mean, the most of the game. Then the fourth quarter rolls around. It's a 3-point game before Zay Flowers scores. So they're not good closers, and that's kind of one of the biggest concerns for the Ravens. But that's why I have the Rams covering the game. or the point spread, but I see the Ravens winning it outright.
Yeah, and then one of the other concerns we talked about was the kicking. You know, they have a rookie in Havrasek who's missed a couple of field goals, and then now they brought in Mason Crosby. Now, do they go with the veteran? They're saying that he's going to get, bumped to the game. He's going to be active on the roster this week. So, well, that's another concern too. But as we said, the Ravens, coming off a bye, they're dangerous, but it's hard to ignore what the Rams are doing right now. First we said, well, do it against a good team. They did it against a really good defense, the number one ranked defense in terms of yardage allowed, and they went up against them and almost hung 400 yards total, Gilbert. So we
Yeah,
have to give the Rams their credit, especially under McVay. And as we've had our guy here comment, coaching does matter. And Sean McVay, the most thing I'm excited about, and we talked about this, Gilbert, is Sean McVay against their defensive coordinator and Mike McDonald. I think that's going to be the key there. Who is able to come on top? How do the chess pieces? How do they move their chess pieces around on offense and on defense? I can't wait for this
yeah.
matchup.
Same here. And but I was also excited for Lions, Ravens, and Seahawks, Ravens, and it didn't work out that way. But we'll see how it turns out this way, as a Thier mentioned. And real quick before we move on to the water cooler storylines, where we predict what people are going to talk about Monday morning or Tuesday morning. Uh, Keep doing what Athir is doing, and our guy Moy 42. Get in the comments and add your takeaway for the NFL football talk. If you want to talk pop culture too, I've been watching Squid Game Challenge on Netflix. When I'm done here, I'm gonna go finish that because the season finale just occurred. That's cool too. But fantasy football, you want to talk fantasy football? You have a dilemma in your lineup. Let us know. We can answer it, Victor and myself. Or you want to talk about betting in the NFL? There's a game you don't know which way to go. Let us know, or you just want to just talk. We're not here to act like the experts, but we know a couple of things, and but we're here to have a discussion with everybody. So let us know, and yeah, that's a good matchup. Cooper Cup versus Kyle Hamilton in prime time. I cannot wait. And as you know, Moy 42, Kyle Hamilton was pretty clutch on that Sunday night football game against the Chargers.
Yeah, it's crazy. And here we got one more. I mean, Lamar Jackson's record versus the NFC is 14-1. I think it's 15.
It
I
might
mean,
be
we were
more.
right on.
I think
Yeah,
it's like 17 or 18. I forget.
yeah.
But it sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, only difference is this weekend Lamar hasn't been as mobile as usual. If Rams can establish the run, then we have no chance versus the Ravens. And then that was the other thing we brought up, Gilbert. There's a 80 to 90% chance it rains. So that, I mean, it could be one of those ugly games where you just see running on both sides of the ball. So and then who can control the line of scrimmage will be a big key. So yeah, that'll be something to keep an eye on. But all right, let's move on to our future water cooler storylines. This is Gilbert for everybody who's watching us and listening. This is where we kind of predict what will be the storyline come Monday morning. Monday morning. And so you have two, and I have one of them. Go ahead and kick
Yeah.
us off.
The first one I won't spend too much time because we touched on it early in the show. Shout out to URL. Was it Jordan? I forget on the name here, but yeah, Jordan. And asking about Trevor Lawrence. So mine is going to be people are going to just write off the Jaguars immediately when they lose to the Browns. That's my prediction. I think the Browns will lose. I mean, win and beat the Jaguars. Let me check the spread real quick here. I had it somewhere. Sorry. It's a +3 Jaguars, so that just shows you how much value Trevor Lawrence has. He probably won't play, but I'm gonna take the Browns to cover. It won't be like the best game here, and maybe they have a chance. I just don't trust CJ, and the Browns don't really have an offense. But Flacco was pretty nice against the Rams, but I'm not gonna write out the Jaguars though. People will talk about that when they lose. I could definitely see Trevor Lawrence coming back for the final 3 games and getting the wild card, and maybe they're dangerous. They beat the Chargers again. Sorry for the reminder in the playoffs, so I don't think it's going to be the worst case scenario for the Jaguars, but they should be okay. This game, a home game for the Browns. It is a home game for the Browns, and again, the Browns are -3, so that's +3 points for the Jaguars. But everybody's going to write out the Jaguars when they probably will lose, but you never know. We just saw Jake Browning beat those Jaguars.
Yeah, and one of the things that we talked about, just seeing the Browns, we just saw him playing against the Rams. Joe Flacco, if they start him the rest of the season, the Browns are making the playoffs. I mean, having an average quarterback can do a lot for your team, especially when you have a really good defense. By the way, Gilbert, my best bet is one of my best bets is in this game, and it has to do with the over under. The over under in this game is 30 and a half.
Oh, that's really
I'm going
low.
with the over. The projection for this game, according to some of the, just, a lot of people are projecting this to be the combined score to be around 35 to 36 points. So they should hit that over pretty easily,
Yeah.
especially with the Browns running the ball and having a competent quarterback in Joe Flacco.
Yeah, I could definitely see like maybe they'll get maybe it'd be like a 20-17 game and they'll get 37 points. 30 is really low, I feel like. But yeah, people haven't seen a full game from CJ Beathard. And yeah, cash out, Vic. Get that
Yeah,
money there because that
yeah,
is
that 30 and a half. If I can find that 30 and a half, I bet some money on it,
yeah.
But
And
yeah, I
then
saw that 30 and a half.
I've noticed that the points have been going like quarterbacks are getting hurt, but people are scoring points. Like last week, there was I counted 7 games out of 13 that went over 50 points total. So uh offenses are at a bit of a rhythm right now. Defenses are getting a little tired. So yeah, we're all worried about the quarterback, but people are scoring points right now. So I definitely like that bet 30 points. But
And
let me go ahead.
going back to your Jaguars, or if they're, I think some people are going. You're right, they're going to write them off, but I think people are sleeping on that defense. I've been saying it for about a couple weeks now, Gilbert. We've had this discussion. The Jaguars defense, yeah, they struggle against the Bengals on Monday night, but I still think that was a one off, and I think they'll get back into it. Um, that my biggest concern has been that offense, and now losing Lawrence. I don't know for
Yeah.
how many weeks. I think it's probably gonna have people not um kind of write them off, and I'm with you. So
What,
that's a
what's
good one.
what's your pick here besides the total?
Yeah, no, I like the Browns. I told you I like the Browns. What is it, -3?
Yeah, to cover
I
two.
like that was gonna be. I thought about doubling up on this one for my best bets, but I'm like, no, I'll give everybody the over under at 30 and a half.
Yeah, and real quick, I agree with you with the offense. They're very inconsistent. They got to figure something out there, and it's going to be harder without Trevor Lawrence for a couple games. But the defense, I feel like they need more playmakers. Yeah, they're probably doing okay as a unit, but I just see Josh Allen, and that's about it, and that's very concerning for me. But maybe they're kind of like the Rams where they gel as a unit. But to me, I'm not too impressed. They are pretty average, but again, maybe that's okay. And Deer has a headline here that really disappointed our guy from Montreal. My headline: Chargers defense meltdown again. Season is over. He's
Yeah, well,
ready for 2024.
yeah, I was trying to wait for that one till we got to the Chargers,
Yeah, I'll
but I
throw it in
I
again,
I
but
get it. I get it. I mean, especially coming in, we got our guy from Montreal out there. Let me dream, please. Win out and book it. Yeah, I mean, there's still a chance. I I'll give people a preview of one of my questions for rapid fire, which has to do, Gilbert, with the playoff committee. And you know how the playoff committee left out Florida State last week. Let me ask you this. My question is going to be, if you can pick one team from the playoffs, kind of like what the college committee did, if you can put one team that's out of the playoff picture and take one out, how would which way are you rolling right now, Gilbert?
I'm definitely taking out the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't want to watch the Steelers. Kenny Pickett or Trubisky, I don't want to see you. Yeah, I respect Mike Tomlin, but the Steelers are terrible. I'm really hoping they fall out. I'm sorry, Steelers fans, but this is not their year. Come on, I think we all know
So
that.
who are you adding? Are you adding the
Oh
Bills or the Chargers?
no, not the Chargers. Sorry, I got to see my guy C.J. Stroud. The Texans. The Texans right now they're tied for a wild card spot, but they're out of it right now. But they're more deserving than the Chargers. Man, I'm not trying to give people hope here. The Chargers are who they are, but if they run the tables, maybe they'll make it in. But I don't see it, and I'm not trying to give people hope here. But uh, no Steelers, please. I don't want to see the Steelers get crushed by the Dolphins or the Chiefs or the Ravens in round one because they can't score more than 10 points. But At least with the Browns, they're in a similar situation. Joe Flacco gives me more confidence than Trubisky and Pickett, but it's definitely a good question. But I got one more for you on the water cooler here, and this one, let me dream here because I have Justin Jefferson in my fantasy football team, and I've been waiting months for him to come back. Again, I need a big time victory to get into the playoffs, so I'm just gonna predict it for myself. Speak it into existence. Justin Jefferson has a big comeback game for the Vikings against the Raiders. It's in Las Vegas. Raiders are a little better defensively, but Jay Jettas is one of the best in the league, regardless of coverage or the defense or the cornerback. So let me dream here. Jefferson, big return for the Vikings. And I like the Vikings to bounce back. Josh Dobbs has been very concerning with the turnovers here. Let me give you the spread real quick. What do we have here?
And this is one of my best bets
Wow.
too. Yeah,
This seems
yeah.
like a pick 'em, no?
No, it's Vikings plus 3.
Oh, okay, I see. I had it on money line here. Yeah, uh, Vikings -3. I'll take the Vikings here or the Raiders. Raiders can't score points either, but I have more respect for the Raiders offense than I do the Steelers. I'll say that.
Yeah, I'm shocked that this is a let's get I'll get back to my best bet on this one, but as our Moy 42 says, JJ definitely goes to eat. And I think one of the things, as you said, and then we got one more Raiders win, only because Dave hates to say hope Viking wins though. Yeah, and it's the one thing I can tell you, Gilbert, is that the Raiders play better at home. But in terms of JJ, I think he gets loose. We've seen Tyreek Hill have big games against the Raiders. We've seen Sharik Rice from the Chiefs have a bit. There's always one guy. They'll allow one guy to beat them, and we've seen that story. So I can see it, but I do like the Raiders in this game at home. They've played better
Wow.
at home. And that line plus 3 after the Vikings, lost that game to the Bears, and then the Raiders have shown some fight since Antonio Pierce has taken over. He's giving them life. You see a little bit more intensity in at Allegiant Stadium. So
They're
this is one of my best bets. We'll get to it. I was shocked to see it was Vikings plus
uh,
-3 and the Raiders at +3. Give me
they're
that
both
plus
coming off a
3.
bye week, right? That's good for the Raiders, right? Also bye week because the Vikings are the bye week too, but they're all going on the road, so I do like that for the Raiders. But I just can't trust Aiden O'Connell on this offense here, Vic. And at least it's with the Bears. I know they could put up a little points, and I know the Broncos could put up points. The Raiders can't, and defensively they're okay, but this is going to be one of the ones we're going to disagree on here. But again, I'm not confident in Josh Dobbs when he's throwing 8 interceptions a game. That's not good either. But we'll see. But if you feel good about it, then I'm starting to worry here. But I just don't trust Aiden O'Connell right now in that offense to put up points.
Yeah, and then we have Uriel Jordan once again. I don't think JJ goes up. Dobbs isn't like that to put balls in situation.
I
Mainly gonna be slants and runs, I'd imagine.
I am interested to see how Dobbs connects with Justin Jefferson. I'm guessing today was the first practice, so that could be no element that I'm missing here.
Yeah, and that's something to keep an eye on. That's one of those sneaky games that is gonna fly under the radar. You got the Vikings trying to make a playoff run, and then the Raiders, they're just trying to play out their season with their new coach, whether they keep him or not. I think this is a big barometer for Antonio Pierce to see if he can get the job. So, but let's move on to mine,
Yeah.
Gilbert. I'll keep mine. Bengals beat the Colts and make a playoff run with Jake Browning. So I told you, I think it was last week or the week before, that hey, I think people are kind of sleeping on Jake Browning. I get it. I've seen a lot of experts talking about, well, I didn't see this at Washington. I mean, yes, he doesn't have a great arm, but I think people are missing the boat here. It's not about Jake Browning. I think we've kind of we haven't been giving credit to Brian Callahan, the offensive coordinator, and their head coach. They've made adjustments, and I think part of the problem, I think why people gave up on the Bengals, is not only losing Burrow, but Burrow pretty much ran that offense. They catered their offense to Burrow, and so once you lost him, it's like, okay, there goes that. But I I think Monday night showed us the fact that um with Jamar Chase, you can do something. And Jake Browning just needs to feed him the ball. And Lua Adarumo, if he hasn't had a great season in terms of just wanted to pop in and say hi. Gotta go. All right, thanks, Marty. We he stayed on with both shows, so that's pretty cool. But going back to the Bengals, I think they have an opportunity to get hot here, Gilbert, with Jake Browning. If they, now that they've kind of changed things up, they learned their lesson against the Steelers. They tried running the Burrow offense, it burned them. They came out of the bye, they made adjustments, and look what they did against that Jaguars defense. I think they beat the Colts at home, and then it sets up for them to go on a playoff run here, and hopefully make the playoffs. I think the Steelers are the ones that get left out, and I think the Bengals somehow, some way sneak in.
Yeah, this might be your best upset pick here. I'm gonna pick the Colts here. It's only -1, but the Bengals are +1 and they're at home. The Raiders could be an upset too, because again we're looking for an upset here, and I'm the one that's missing it maybe. But those are two good ones for you there to kind of pick for an upset. The Bengals, I do like the coaching when it came to Zach Taylor game plan, and then I love how they just kept saying, "All right, Jamar Chase, you're a best guy. Go help this guy here." And he kept throwing the ball him 4 to 5 yards, and I think it was like maybe the midway first quarter, and he had 6 catches. Jamar Chase, I'm like, that was a perfect way to get Jake Bryan involved. His confidence went up as the game went on, and he did well. So to read our guy from Montreal here, the comment here, Jordan might be right, but I think JJ Addison and Hawk might be too much to handle, and the Vikings have the best OT opposite tackle combo in the NFL after the Eagles. Helps to stop Crosby plus JJ's on my fantasy team. Yeah, that's why we're on the same page right here. But I do agree with that. I think maybe a little too much firepower, but when Dobbs is giving the ball to the other opponent, it does not help when it comes to possessions there. But going back to the Bengals and the Colts, yes, Brownie was very impressive. I went with the Colts because, I feel like, they've had more chemistry, more time to gel with Gardner Minshew. I like Zach Moss filling in for Jonathan Taylor. I like Josh Downs, Michael Pittman Jr., Alec Pierce got going finally. So, and and you scared me last week, Victor, with the whole they suck on the road thing, and they were gonna lose that game until special
They
teams
should have
came.
lost, by the way. I'm
so,
sorry,
so,
Gilbert.
so
That I, and just to let people know on our betting logs, I went 0-5 last week, and part of the reason was this was the game I was locked into, Gilbert. The Colts and the Titans. The Titans were gonna win this game. They should have won this game, but Tannehill decided to still put his stamp on this game by making sure that they lost. He was the holder. He did not do a good job on that. And then you lose your punter. It was so terrible. The I was there for the 1 point win. Titans blew it. Like I said, I understand where people are. I'm a big Shane Steichen fan because of you guys, because of you and Fernando. You guys have said, "Hey, this guy is really good at what he does," and he's been watching him this season has been impressive. But watching that game, I've heard this from people, and then watching like the majority of that game, Minshew just tries to he puts
yeah,
up balls up there, Gilbert, and I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, and somehow, some way, he either completes it or almost throws an interception. Uh he did that against the Jaguars earlier in the season where he just threw up balls and he finally cost him the game. I see the same thing happening here with Lou Adarumo as a defensive coordinator. He's going to confuse him and he's going to make him throw some of those balls just because if they had Jonathan Taylor, I would love
yeah.
I would love the Colts to go on the road and beat the Bengals.
Yeah, and that's why for me, because I was gonna say like the Bengals can't stop the run; they're pretty bad against the run, and I like Zach Moss. I've seen him all year play well, so that's why I didn't go away from them. But that the Jonathan Taylor thing would have made me feel a little better here. But it's gonna be a close game. I have a little more faith in Shane Steichen, but Zach Taylor's been great too, and it's gonna be one of those fun games. So it could be something similar to the Titans and the Colts, where like a lot of mistakes occur, but it could be a high scoring game. And yeah, the Minshew experience is it's a roller coaster. That's why he's going to start in the NFL. But Steichen squeezing out what 5 wins out of him kind of tells you a lot about his coaching, especially his campaign for Coach of the Year.
Yeah, no, and if we get to, when I hope he deserves it. It's Shane Steichen and D'Amico Ryan. That's who. That's it. That should be the list, Gilbert. For me at least, that's the case. But
The
Moy
comment here.
42 Charger fans might need Bengals to win that one to stay on the Kool Aid. Tyrants laugh out loud. We lost to that mess. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, but they're tough at. It's weird. Like going into Tennessee, it's always weird. You never know what you're gonna get from the Titans, and it just seems like you go into the Bermuda Triangle and you're just trying to get the hell out of there. It's just a weird place, and most teams end up coming out with a loss there. All right, Gilbert, let's get to our betting locks of the week. Last week, as we mentioned, we combined for a terrible week. You went 1-4, and I went 0-5. I'm only gonna say the one you got right, and that was you got the Lions and Saints with the 47.5 over. We were both terrible. So rather than uh, going over all our losses, let's get to our best bet. Just for people who are checking in for the first time, the way we do this is we give 5 bets, and then we go by confidence level. We start off with our best confidence is 5, then we go down to 4, 3, and 2 and 1. So depending on how confident we are about that bet, we start at 5 and we go down to 1. So far this season, with that extra point that you got last week, Gilbert, because the only one you hit was your 1 pointer. You're up 47-39 on me, so you have a 8 point lead on me. So go ahead and start us off with your best bets this week.
Yeah, for me, the one I have the most confidence in, and a week ago I was pretty scared about the Detroit Lions, but they went into New Orleans and they won. They covered it, and I think barely though. It was like 33-28. It was like a 3 point game for the spread there, but for my 5 pointer here, give me the Detroit Lions -3 versus the Bears. I know it's in Chicago, and the Bears almost beat the Lions the first time, but I think almost losing that game and then losing to the Packers gave the Lions a wake up call here. So I think they're gonna put up a bunch of points here, and maybe it's a little sloppy, but they score so many points that I have confidence in them covering the spread here to win by more than 3 points. So that's my 5 pointer.
Can I give you something real quick? Which is one of the things that I found out about this week, and I brought it up before, but with the Lions, this will be their only road game where they're outside of a dome
Oh
the
wow.
rest of the way, and I think it's been about a month since they played outside.
Uh-oh.
So I mean, I'm surprised you're that confident, but
It's Chicago Bears for me, but yeah, that's something there. But they can score points here, maybe even I don't know. It just I don't have any faith in the Bears. Justin Fields had a lot of turnovers, so maybe at least a couple pick sixes or something. I don't know. But last time Aiden Hutchinson got that nice stop on Fields, and it was a 2 pointer on the safety. But I can't get on behind the Bears or anything like that. But this one I have less confidence in. That's why it's number 4. Eagles +3.5 versus the Cowboys. Yeah, the Cowboys win a lot at home. Yeah, the Eagles got smacked, but it's still a divisional rival here, and I can't just fully support the Cowboys. They turn the kind of they tend to just burn in the fourth quarter, and they make a lot of mistakes. So I'd say the Cowboys win by 3 points, but not 3.5. Give me the Eagles +3.5. And then this one, my Texans here, they're my team of the year. Texans -3.5 in New York City against those boring Jets here. I don't even know who's going to be the quarterback. I guess Zach Wilson is. Okay, you're going to go from 8 points to 10 points. Who cares? Give me the Texans to cover -3.5. And then my 2 pointer here, I expect low scoring. Chargers versus Broncos. The total is 43.5. Give me the under. I don't feel as good as I did yesterday because Josh Palmer might come back. He's been on IR, and that could help out Justin Herbert. But we got to be real here because we have a lot of Chargers fans in the comments. The Chargers have scored 16 points in the last 2 weeks, and the Broncos don't really score a lot of points here. So give me the under there on that one. And we'll give our picks in a bit here for Chargers Broncos, and then my last one's Colts Bengals total 43.5. Give me the over. Like I mentioned, it could be a fun game. Browning and Minshew here. So I'll go over there for the points.
okay, I like that. That's pretty good. All right, let me give you mine. Mine, I'll start off with number 5, Eagles Cowboys. I'm going with the over under 52. I'm going with the under here.
It's pretty high.
We've Yeah, it's pretty high. It's 52. The way these divisional games we've seen where it gets, it gets tough to score points, but I really like the under in this one, so that's why I made it my 5. Like I said, I really like the Cowboys here. The Eagles coming off a loss too. I mean, I think it's going to be one of those, what do they call it, the blue division, I think they called it. um and it's that for a reason, because these teams are so physical that I think it's gonna just, you're gonna have a low scoring game. My number 4 is Rams and Ravens, and I'm going with the over here, 40 and a half. We've As we said, the Ravens are scoring points, and the Rams have scored 30 points in each of their game in their last 3 games since they came off the bye. So even though it's gonna rain, I still like these offenses to score enough points to go over 40 points. My number 3, as I talked about earlier, I like the Raiders here at +3. I can't believe they're an underdog by that many points on the road, at home, after the Vikings, what their performance they had. I understand they're coming off a bye and they're getting Justin Jefferson, but that's a lot of points. Give me the Raiders points there. Number 2 is Bengals +1 over the Colts, as we talked about. I like the Bengals. I like them to go on a little bit of a run here, especially at home. The Colts are really good at home. They're not as good on the road. The one thing that does scare me is the fact that they've been able to score over 20 points. The Colts have in every game this season. And then my number 1, I should have made it my number 5, Gilbert. Jaguars Browns 30 and a half over. I mean, I can't believe that over is only
Yeah.
30 and a half. So I should have
Surprised
probably,
it's your 1 point. I'm surprised.
yeah, yeah, I should have probably hit that. I should have gone up higher with that one. We have a deer. I said, is gonna over. I have Broncos 31-27 because I don't trust Staley and his trash defense. We're 0-5 against good teams ever qualified as gets either 5-1 in their last 6
How do
games.
you trust the offense? At Theory, you saw 6 points in New England and then 10 points
Yeah, and then
against the Ravens.
Russell Wilson might give you a shot to win that game. So, but we'll get to it. Let's do quick dump offs there, and we'll end up getting to that Chargers game. Yeah, it's one of our last games, so that way we have a little bit of a runway to kind of go over some of the comments. So let's start off with Patriots at Steelers, Gilbert.
Yeah, the ugly Thursday night football. We have the Patriots getting +6 points here on the Steelers. I'll take the +6 on the Patriots. They burned me last week against the Chargers, but I don't mention Trubisky. Steelers win the game. They're at home, but it's not going to be a 6 point game because they can't even score 6 points. I feel like neither team can score 6 points here. So, by the way, last week I had the Patriots covering the 5.5, and they lost 6-0, and I didn't get the bet. That's terrible, but whatever. Give me the Steelers to win, but Patriots to cover the 6.
I don't know where to go with this one, Gilbert, because we talked about this stat. The Patriots are the first team since the Chicago Cardinals or the Cleveland Cardinals to, allow keep teams under 10 points and still lose. And then you have the Steelers on the other side, which I think is funny that it's, what is it, -6? They haven't been able to beat a team by more than 6 points, if I'm not
Yeah, I got
mistaken.
burned last week. I picked the Steelers to beat the Cardinals by -5, and they got their butts whooped.
We have a Thier going 7-3. I think I'm going with the Thier here. I'm going with the Steelers. I think they cover. They haven't been able to score points. I don't know who their quarterback's gonna be. And we have him taking the under. Yeah, take the under. Whatever the under is, I haven't. What is he? Do you know what the under is?
Yeah, I have it here. This is 30 actually. Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
low.
take the under. It'll be 17-3, like Athir said. So I don't think they score more than 20 points between these two teams. I could be wrong. Maybe there's some. I have the Steelers on my fantasy team. I'm hoping for a big game from the Steelers defense. So yeah, like it's a rough one here, Gilbert. All right, next one, Buccaneers at Falcons.
Buccaneers, Falcons. Buccaneers are getting +1.5 points here. I'll take the Falcons. You know, I just they're at home. Their defense have actually turned it around. Defense went started pretty well, then they kind of fell apart a bit, and then now they're with ever since Jesse Bates got that pick six on Derek Carr, he's been pretty great. That's been 2 games with Bates getting some interceptions. So give me the Falcons and to cover the -1.5.
I'm with you on everything you said, but the last 2 weeks, Gilbert, I've gone against the Falcons if they won. I'm gonna go with the Buccaneers in this game just to keep the trend going
Mm.
because, like I said, every time I pick the Falcons, they lose. So let's see if we can make it 3 games in a row. And if you're betting, guys, go hard on the Falcons because I'm picking the Buccaneers in this game.
All right, what we got next?
All right, we got Colts at Bengals, which we talked about. But did you give what
Yeah,
you
I went with the Colts on that one, -1.
okay? All right. We have here, we got one more comment here. A very low key, very important game. And then we have Atlanta 23. There you go. So if you're betting this game, like I said, I'm going with the Buccaneers. But if you've been following me the last couple of weeks, bet money on the Falcons on this one. All right, next one. Jaguars at Browns.
Yeah, I think we did. I made this pick one. This two. Sorry. -3. Give me the Browns.
Yeah, same thing. Browns. I like that. And I like the over on that game. I think it was 30 and a half. Texans at Jets.
This one I did it for my best bet, but reminder I went Texans -3.5 to beat the Jets because the Jets are just the Jets. And free Sal, I saw that comment earlier. Where did that
Yes,
one
free
go?
Sala. Let me get to that one. There we go. Free Sala. And then we got a Thier with 24. He's got 24 20 on the Bengals there. So he likes the Colts as well. And then he's going Jaguars 17-13 as well there. All right, next one. We did Texans. I'm going with the Texans as well. Um, the Jets are a mess right now. They're still trying to figure out what they're doing. I don't understand. I feel bad for Salah. And we'll get to this on rapid fire because this will be one of my questions, but it just feels like he's under the most pressure and he's on the verge of getting fired if he, which sucks. But that's what happens when you give Aaron Rodgers all that power. So a dear Texans 27-17, 27-7, sorry. So there we go. All right, we're back. All right, next one is Lions at Bears, Gilbert.
Yeah, that one I gave for my best bets too. Confident -3 Lions.
Yeah, give me. I like that. Even though this is their first outdoor game, I still like the Lions in this game. And that's another guy, Matt Eberflus, who's probably fighting for his job to close the season. Next one is Panthers at Saints. Oh my God, that just
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know about Derek Carr right now, but give me the Panthers. Sorry, the not the Panthers. Give me the Saints. I hesitate because it's -5 for the Saints. I think the Saints will cover. I also saw Taysom Hill might be hurt too, so I might regret it. But it's the Panthers. Saints -5 at home.
yeah, I don't feel good about this game at all. You know what? Give me the Panthers to cover in this game. I think they'll have a little bit of a fight. That's He's another guy, Dennis Allen, Gilbert. He's probably on the hot seat. He's probably fighting for his job. The one thing you could say about him is the fact that his defense has been really good. It hasn't been lately. It's been pretty bad. I think you said that teams have been scoring over 30 points the last
Yeah.
5 games or so. I just think he's on the hot seat as well. Thier went with the Lions 31-26, and then he's got
Yeah.
Panthers 6, Saints 9. Yeah,
No,
we're
correct.
with you on that one. So we left off. Yeah, and I went with the Panthers to cover, but I like the Saints to win. Seahawks at 49ers.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, we made that one of our top games. Now we don't even care because the 49ers have been rolling here. I saw, let me double check. Yeah, 49ers are -10.5 points here. And I know the Seahawks showed me some fight, some pride. They finally made up for the other ones that I bet on them, but not today. I'm sorry, the Seahawks, yeah, Seahawks don't play well against the 49ers. So 49ers at home, give me the -10.5 for the 49ers.
Wow. You know what? Give me the 49ers as well. I don't know how they keep this game close, but I you know what? I'm gonna go the other way, Gilbert. I say they keep it close. I say it's 40 to 35.
Okay.
40 to 35, and we got a tier one more time, 31-27. So he thinks it stays close. There we go. And then we got one more here from Tanya. I need to see more from Jake Browning. He couldn't get anything done when he had the pressure. Jake had all day back there. I need to see more. Okay. Hey, we appreciate the
Yeah.
comment. We'll see if like I said, he's got a great job. So, and then
Yeah,
we got
especially because the Colts have Buckner and Quiddy Pay, so they might have some pressure on Jake Browning this week.
Yeah. And then we got our guy, they're leave. I got to go to bed. Eastern time is hard. Great
Yeah.
chat, greater
Yeah.
content, guys. Chargers 21-13. So we got his pick in there as well. So thank you. All right, let's get back into this. We left off at Seahawks
Let's
20.
go with Chargers Broncos in case he's still here real quick. Because he's probably waiting all day for Chargers Broncos. But
Yeah.
for me, the Chargers are, I think they're favorite. Yeah, minus 2.5. The Chargers are at home SoFi Stadium against the Broncos. But sorry, I made you wait for this. I'm going to take the Broncos to cover plus 2.5 and for the Broncos to win. I just have no faith in the Chargers right now. They can't score points. And as Thea mentioned earlier, the defense is pretty bad. And and to have the 6-0 game last week, they won, but I don't feel good with the Chargers. Give me the Broncos to beat the Chargers.
And we also have a tier earlier from earlier today. He said he's going with the over. I have Broncos 31-27 because I don't trust Staley and trash defense. We're 0-5 against good teams. And I wanted to get your comments on here because Tier is pretty upset at Fernando because of what's been going on. So I just wanted to get your comments. He's not happy with Fernando. What are your thoughts on Atir not being happy with Fernando?
Athir is just not happy with the Ramirez brothers at all. He's not a fan of Dan. He's not happy with Fernando's takes. But hopefully we see him on Monday, and maybe he's right with his points. But I don't know, Athir. You kind of been you've been 500. Some good takes and some bad ones, but we'll see.
He said he's got a bold prediction. The Chargers will clean hat. No Harbaugh will be the Chargers GM and coach. So there you go, Thier. We got your questions in. As far as I'm with you on where is this game? Is this at home?
Yeah, it's at SoFi.
You know what? Give me the Chargers this week. I like the. I'll take the Chargers. I want to make that game between the Chargers and the Raiders interesting on Thursday night. So I'm gonna say they
Wow.
stay alive this week, and it sets up a nice matchup between the Chargers and Raiders. So that way we
Yeah.
get more content. So I'm thinking about content here, Gilbert. So
Okay.
I say that they stay alive and give me the Chargers here. I say they win 27-21.
Okay. So they cover too. All right. All right.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm the negative one here with on the Chargers, but
I'm
yeah.
thinking content here, so that way it sets up us to have some good content for that Thursday night matchup.
All right. We got two more, right? Monday Night
Yeah,
Football.
which is weird. Like I totally missed the fact that we're having two Monday night games on week 14. What is up with that? I don't understand.
I don't care for it, especially for these games. Nobody I don't
Yeah,
even care for 2 Monday night games. I like having just one. Nobody asked for this, but
here
here
we
we
are.
are
Yep.
with
All right,
Titans
Gilbert. Packers
Dolphins.
at. Let's start
All
off
right.
with Packers at Giants.
Packers at Giants. What is the spread here? Packers are minus 6.5 in New York against Tommy DeVito, which is a great story. I like the Tommy DeVito story from the New Jersey area, playing for the hometown Giants, undrafted. Wanted his shots. He went to a good coach in Brian Dable, and they put him in a good spot there. It's a good story, but not enough for a win for Tommy DeVito. Give me the Packers, and you know what? I'll give Tommy DeVito some love. The Giants cover plus 6.5, but Packers win.
Yeah, no, I like the Packers. The Packers are rolling in this game. Give me the Packers to cover here, cover that number. I just really like what the Packers are doing. I'm a little concerned about the receiver getting hurt, pulling a hammy there, but I still like
Yeah.
what they're doing. Yeah,
Speaking
Watson.
of Watson, can't stay healthy. He's so talented, but he's always hurt.
Yeah, and I think those Ricky wide receivers or those young receivers have figured things out with Jordan Love. I like the upside here. I think they go into in I was gonna say the Meadowlands, but into New York, and they come out with the win, and it sets them up to make a the playoffs here. All right, we got one more comment, Gilbert, before we get to our leg. We have Tanya Bowman. Exactly, when he played the Ravens and Steelers, he wasn't good. He has potential, but under pressure, that's a problem for him. We will see. So, yes, we want to see what he can do. I think he's a good matchup this week. He's at home. He made the adjustments. They made the adjustments. The coaching staff did. It'll be interesting to see what they do. I think if they come out of this uh, and they win, I think it sets them up well. We'll see what happens. Or they still have a tough schedule the rest of the way, but I really like them. They still have some talent on there. All right, Gilbert.
Real quick, I'm
Yeah.
wondering if Tanya is a Bengals fan and keeping a close eye on Jake Browning because it sounds like maybe like she wants some hope on the Bengals, but not really because it's Jake Browning and had one game. But I'm just curious. Let me know. But yeah, these are great points because he wasn't good at all with the Ravens, not good against the Steelers. That's why you shouted out Jake Browning a week ago, Victor, and then I saw him in the Steelers game. I'm like, I don't see it. And then out of nowhere, this Jaguars game he went off. So we'll see. We'll come back here next week, Tanya, and talk about how Jake Browning did. But one more game.
One more game to finish it up. Titans at Dolphins. What
Yeah,
is
this
it?
is a plus 13 Titans. They're in Miami. The Dolphins just keep crushing all these bad teams. I really don't care about them until they play the Bills, the Cowboys. I think they play the Ravens too. Like, I think this might be their last week against a crappy team. I forget. But right now, they're doing their job. I say they cover too, the Titans or whatever. Give me a minus 13 Dolphins.
Honestly, the only thing I care about in this game, Gilbert, is Tyreek Hill. How many yards does he
Yeah.
have, and how many does he need after this game to get to 2,000? What's your over under here for
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill receiving yards?
I did the math. If he gets 129 yards per game. The next 5 games, he'll get over 2,000. So I'll say he gets 130 yards this week.
All right, there we go. I say he gets. I'm gonna say 125. You say 130. We'll see where he comes in. I like the Dolphins. You're right. They just been the teams that are under 500. They blow them out. I'm with you. I like the Dolphins in this game. I don't understand why. I honestly, you should, if you were planning to watch these games, you should go and do something else because there's no reason to watch these games. They're both probably going to be really bad. And, and I think the thing that I really hate about this, I'm going to go on a little just before we end this, is why are they at the same time? I would understand if you would have
Hmm.
one at on the Pacific time and you had one on Easter time, but I don't. I get the money aspect of it. You want to have more games on ABC and ESPN, but just split them up. That's my only thing, Gilbert.
Yeah, they tried the doubleheader earlier this year too, but I think it was like an hour ahead, and the other one was like an hour later. It was close, but not at the same time. So it's gonna be a little weird. But then again, I don't even know what the hell to pick. Maybe because Tyreek Hill, or maybe I want to see what Tommy DeVito and Jordan Love do. But should be interesting. But another good show here. A lot of good comments here. And when we go over an hour, that means people have been talking to us, and that's a good sign. You're enjoying the content. You're enjoying the chatter, the banter, uh, the advice or the questions, whatever it is. It's been pretty cool to have this show here on Wednesday. And I think Wednesday nights it was a hit. I see more people than Thursday nights. I feel like.
Yeah, and shout out to Atir. Thank you for, as always, participating. We love, that you're in the comments, giving us feedback. We got URL Jordan. We had going through this our Montreal guy, Moy42. We had Marty from House of Horns on here. Who else did we have on
Tanya.
here? Tanya. Thank you, Tanya. I mean, it was a good day both at House of Horns and on
Hopefully, we're
here.
not
Shout out
butchering her name real quick. I hope maybe it's Tanja, or I don't want to mess it up.
Tanya.
Sorry about that. But yeah,
Yeah, do let us know.
let's say
and
Bowman. How about Bowman?
Yeah, Bowman. There you go. But thank you to everybody who participated. Honestly, without you guys, this wouldn't be. We continue to get more and more people on here, and honestly, it's a great experience. So that's all
Yeah.
I have for you,
And
Gilbert.
subscribe if you haven't. If you like the content, if you enjoyed the show, just subscribe. That'd be awesome. If you want to give us a super thanks for the live, that's much appreciated. No pressure. Check out the link in the description. We have a PayPal link for us to receive donations because we're trying to get to Super Bowl Radio Row. We've done Super Bowl Radio Row the last couple of years. We've been pretty fortunate with that in LA, in Arizona. We're trying to make it 3 years in a row to Las Vegas, but it gets a little pricey with housing and equipment. But if you enjoy the content, we do better content in person as well, but that requires money for equipment. But no pressure. We like to talk, and it's awesome that everybody's here to join us on a Wednesday night. I know for the East Coast people, it's pretty late, but I appreciate everybody staying up and sticking around for the show.
Yeah, and honestly, like I said, if you anything you can do to help us, we understand there's a lot going on right now. It's almost Christmas time, there we're in a recession as well, so we totally understand. But hey, anything you guys can help us out. We did a bunch of cool shows last year from Arizona, live from there. We got Austin Eckler to we got a bunch of guests that we were really happy with. So we're hoping to get some more guests this year, or I guess next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you guys for checking us out. We appreciate. That's all we really. If you can donate, cool. But honestly, what we really care is about you subscribing and you enjoying the content.
Yeah. But let's get out of here. It's been an hour and 20 minutes. Good stuff here. On the week 14, we talked it all. All the games are coming up here, even the two Monday Night Football games, even that terrible Patriots Steelers game, even that debate about Jake Browning, and right there, as I say that Bowman coming through, Ravens 31, Rams 27. I like the high scoring affair. So maybe a Rams or a Ravens fan. I don't know. But I appreciate you coming in and dropping the comment before we left. And yeah, week 14, make your money making these bets. Win your pool at work with the picks here. Hopefully you make it to fantasy football in the last week of the regular season. Whatever it is, football related, best of luck on the week 14. But on that note, ya nos vamos, pues vámonos.